Hello, I'm dgerard, and this is Pivot to AI, coming to you Monday to Friday. Today, let's finish the week with something heartwarming. OpenAI discovering you can't kite chicks forever. So, OpenAI, flagship of the AI bubble. We know OpenAI's finances are hilariously impossible. OpenAI works by setting as much money as it can on fire as fast as possible. This depends on having even more money coming in. Trouble is, that's getting a bit short, and some bills are due. International Financial Review did some digging, and they think OpenAI has a cash crunch by the end of this year. They spoke to, quote, investment banks that asked not to be identified because they are actively engaged in pitching OpenAI for work. It sets up 2026 as a make-or-break moment for the AI giant. More than $80 billion of deferred commitments are set to come due this year, according to bank projections, including some linked to a deal last year to purchase $250 billion of compute from Microsoft. With other contracts that OpenAI has taken out with data centers, cloud computing providers, and chip manufacturers over the past few years also starting to come due, the company is facing a wall of payment demands that could amount to several $100 billion between now and the end of 2030. Unquote. OpenAI's revenue is nothing like enough money to pay these costs. The money it's committed to pay is around $130 billion over 2026 and 2027. That's before that $1.4 trillion of letters of intent to build data centers they can't get the power or the parts for. That's for a company that claims they took $20 billion in revenue in 2025. OpenAI got suppliers like CoreWeave to accept Net 360 terms, pay in 360 days. That is, OpenAI doesn't have to pay their bill for a year. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a GPU today. But a year goes by so fast. Last year, OpenAI did the $41 billion funding deal organised by SoftBank. All that $41 billion will be spent in 2026. That $41 billion was the biggest venture deal in history. OpenAI just has to do one of those again, but bigger and bigger forever. OpenAI needs more money than there is in the capital markets. So, OpenAI is mumbling about doing an initial public offering and going public on the stock market. They'd like to get $100 billion from that. This would be the biggest IPO of all time, of course. The strong rumours are OpenAI wants to go public this year. OpenAI Chief Financial Officer Sarah Fryer told Fox Business just today.
Is an IPO off the table?
It's definitely not off the table. It's just a question of when. I always say about an IPO, it's just another fundraise. And to date, we've found the private markets very open to fundraising.
Sure. But the problem is those private markets are getting harder and harder to get the money from at the scale OpenAI needs. And if OpenAI does go public, those investors are also a lot of the same people who'd back an IPO. The other thing is OpenAI's account books, they're terrible. You have to show everything when you file to go public, and OpenAI's operating business numbers, the ones we already know, make the WeWork IPO look good, solid and stable. So how much money does OpenAI need? In November, analysts at HSBC worked out OpenAI needed at least $207 billion by 2030. That's being as optimistic as possible. This assumes 3 billion users around the world by 2030. It also assumes 10% of those are paying customers, not the current 5%. Also, that the chatbot companies get 2% of the digital advertising market, up from 0. But even with all of that revenue, costs go up even faster. So OpenAI still subsidizes its users and spends trillions on data centers. This adds up to a $207 billion hole, even with these ridiculously optimistic assumptions. What about the lender of last resort? OpenAI says it doesn't want a US government bailout. David Sachs, the White House AI czar, says they don't want to do a bailout either. But when, not if, the crunch comes, it depends how good a salesman Sam Altman is. The technology has no miracles coming, and the money's running out. So Pivot to AI's guess for 2027 being when the AI bubble pops, which everyone's going to mark by the day OpenAI goes down, it was always a very fuzzy guess, but we're looking on the order of about right. Thanks for tuning in to Pivot to AI. Please do forward this video to any AI haters you know who could do with some cheering news today. Please hit like and subscribe on YouTube, leave a nice podcast review, and Pivot to AI also needs funding to keep going. If you can, please do drop your $5 into the Patreon linked in the show notes below. Or there's a coffee. It really helps. Thank you all. I will see you on Monday, and bye for now.